WebMD will also tell you you're dying if you stub your toes. So just because
you are dying. Have you stubbed your toe before? You are dying.
Yes, I deal with it daily. I work in EMS.
Where?
Fucking 2 a.m. toe pain.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Double Sleeve Podcast. I am joined today with my host, Guy, our resident Sisay degenerate, and resident Crayon Eater on stream. Let's go. We're doing it. That is not a purple one. You said the purple ones were the best ones. This motherfucker is really eating.
Red violet.
Save the best for last, my friend. Come on. You know the deal.
You made me cuss in this thing. This dude's eating crayons on the street.
Yeah, how's it taste? Pretty bad, huh?
It tastes like red violet.
At least you're committed to the bit. I'll give you that.
All right, and then next we have our
22 more.
We have our guest Boomer. This is the first time we've seen you on the channel. Have we had you any time on the gameplay? I can't remember.
On the gameplay, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Literally 2 weeks ago.
Whoops. All right, we're gonna have a ratings. We're gonna have a rating system. Staple being the best, niche being mid, and casual being the lowest rating. Let's get into it. Starting off with the white cards, we have Starfall Invocation. For 3 colorless and 2 white, we have a sorcery that you have the option of gifting someone a card. And then if you do, when you go to destroy all creatures, if you gifted what was promised, return a creature card, put into your graveyard this way into the battlefield under your control. As a board wipe, I think this card's kind of mid. Guy, do you have any comments?
Yeah, you're not playing this for the board wipe. It's a combo card, as y'all just honestly recently pointed out to me. But before I get into that, I would like to take a moment to point out they kind of missed a flavor win with promises, especially based off of what was happening earlier this year on promises in the cEDH format of I can promise you anything. Whether or not it actually happens is a different story. It never said you had to give them the card, just said you had to promise it. For the record, I do not condone these actions.
We're still niche.
Michael, how can we use Starfall Invocation? What are we using it for?
This is a win in main phase 2 with dual caster card. That is.
Explain to us how that works.
Yeah. So much like multi-duplication and or your Twin Flame, you cast the Starfall. You do promise a card, and when you promise a card, that becomes a copyable effect of the spell. With that on the stack, you hold priority and you cast Dual Caster Mage to copy it on top of it. And then what the loop is that the copy kills the Dual Caster Mage and then brings the Dual Caster Mage back because it copied the gift, brings the Dual Caster Mage back and you copy the board wipe again. And you start
to just repeat that effect
with gifting a card.
You're winning through decking your opponents.
Correct. It is a Boros main phase 2 win through decking using Dual Caster Mage.
Now, can you let's say there's let's say you've made the blue farm player or ad nauseum player, they get the Born Upon a Wind. Can they win in response with the Born Upon a Wind if they have the mana available?
Yeah, you don't go into it not silenced. So your ranger captains, your silences, your dual caster mage copied Orum's chance.
So this is a very
dangerous.
This sounds like it's a very dangerous combo if it's not protected.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you're gonna have people that are just gonna slam it because it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's super fun and casual. Like 7 mana combo, yeah, sure, go right ahead.
8.
Or even just play
it's 5 mana. Dual caster's a 3. The issue is that
plus the 3 from Starfall.
Yeah, we are a very Smothering Tithe heavy format right now. Even the decks that are like, so Blue Farm has been speeding up. even in doing so, it still has Smothering Tithe. So you're going to have everyone triggering Smothering Tithe. Everyone that has Born Upon a Wind is going to have it in hand because your combo's sorcery speed. Everything can be interacted to. Nothing can be sped up unless you have another dual caster in hand, which, what format are you playing? I don't see a world in which you run this in any sort of circumstance where you don't have a silence.
Okay, so let's get down to rating this card. What do we rate it? Niche, staple, or casual?
Casual.
It's casual.
All right. The next card is Dawn's Truce. It is 1 and a white instant with gift, which is gift a card, and its ability is you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control gain indestructible till end of turn as well. This is just another heroic intervention, except this one targets or protects you instead of just your permanents on the board. Guy, what do you think of this? You see this seeing any play in anything?
Maybe I'm definitely liking it more than the last card, but Heroic Intervention itself already doesn't see much play. The low color white decks, it is another good protection spell that we don't really have, and it's 1 mana cheaper than Teferi's protection and doesn't just completely take you out of the game. So for being used in those situations, I think it's pretty good. Apart from that, I don't really know if you're looking for that many essentially just board wipe protections, because you already have stuff that can protect your stuff from 1 mana, and I mean minus the Heliod decks, but you're usually playing white X, white green, whatever. Like you have Legolas's quick reflexes, you have Tamio safekeeping and whatnot for all the protect your own stuff, and you have just interaction for that matter as far as like counter spells. So I don't think it'll see much play, but I think it's worth trying out.
So it quite possibly, so it definitely hits the maybe list. The reason being is that yes, Cyclonic Rift exists. Yes, Toxic Deluge exists. We see a lot of single targeted removal. Now I want to note that 3 of the instances there that you named that were specifically to protect your permanents on board were all green. Esper does not have access to those tools. Well, I guess we have counter spells. We're starting to see channels become a lot more common.
Yep.
Beseiju, Otawara, awesome, sweet. But then we also have the 3 mana enchantment that I run myself. Touch the Spirit Realm. Boom, great card. I don't run Stifle, and I don't have access to Deflecting Swat either. So protecting permanents on board from channels, for me, it's nearly impossible on the stack. So that makes this interesting in that it actually does fit that kind of fit that niche. Permanent protection that can stop most of the relevant stifles is very interesting to me. I'm a permanent based combo deck, and there are multiple permanent based combo decks, including a lot in white with no green, where protecting the permanents can be somewhat of an issue. This one does that while also protecting my board from, and also my life total from Orcish Bowmasters, from Niv Mizzet, because for reference, I do play against a lot of Niv Mizzet. But also,
hey, Aiden.
Yeah, hello, Aiden. Yeah, so it's interesting. Now, do I have a spot for it in my 99 right now? I don't. Permanent-based combos are very susceptible to channels right now. I think channels are extremely effective. There was another one printed in Thunder Junction that I think needs more looked at more. -2/-2 on a 1 in the black channel. Pretty good. Because there's not much interaction for channels right now. And I think that if there was a void for this card to fill, it is that channels become more and more prominent and prevalent, which I think they can be and will and or should. That's when this card will start seeing play. And I do think in that situation, there will be 3 color white decks that run it, and possibly 4 color.
Okay.
It's not 4 color is the reason to say possibly. There is a reason I say possibly. It just depends.
All right. So Michael, since you had quite the detailed breakdown of the card, what is your rating on this one?
A niche/fringe. I think niche is better because that niche can and will expand or contract. I think more channel card, like channel is such a strong ability that as it's proliferated more into just regular Magic cards that get printed, this card is going to see more play. Now, is it going to break into a lot of decks? Who knows? It'll see more play as we get more channels.
Okay.
I'll keep it at fringe for now, or niche.
Niche. Guy, how about you? What's the rating here?
Niche. I definitely think it's worth trying out in a couple decks. Pretty much just if you got white, sure, try it out for at bare minimum for shits and giggles. But it's probably gonna save you a couple games, maybe win you a couple games. It's not gonna be every time. I don't think it's one of those cards you tutor for, and especially if you're in low color white decks, you're not tutoring for that piece of interaction. You're tutoring for your win. Okay. So definitely niche.
Okay. Moving on to the next card, we have another sorcery here. Dewdrop Cure. It is a 3-drop sorcery, uncommon. It as well has a gift card. Its ability is return up to 2 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If gift was promised, instead return 3 creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So there feels like there's some combo potential with this card. What do you think, Guy?
Yeah. So when I first read this card, the whole gifted card mechanic, it's going to be the common problem with it is, what if they draw the counterspell? There's already probably a Merciless Study on the field. It doesn't matter. So just don't gift that person the card. But with this, I'm looking at it kind of like Protein Hulk or IM decks. Stuff like that probably wants to run it as a secondary backup. I'm not too versed in the Hulk line, so I don't know if there's a Hulk line you can grab off of this or something of this sort. 2 mana or less creatures that just win the game. Someone within the, mass of people that play this lovely format is going to figure it out, and I'm sure they already have before this video goes up. But there are probably piles that you can go grab that just auto win the game off of a Buried Alive. So you Buried Alive, throw this 3 in your graveyard, and then you just Dewdrop Cure, give whoever's furthest behind a card, and you just win the game potentially.
Okay.
At bare minimum, it's good value because no, you blew up the board, and now I just cast Dewdrop Cure, and I don't gift you a card, but I get my Esper Sentinel and my Dockside back.
If I may, reading the card and kind of thinking, you mentioned Protean Hulk piles. Samwise Gamgee and Cauldron Familiar with Buried Alive, plus I believe there is a third, which is the outlet there, that I believe is also at 2 mana. So Buried Alive plus this card gets you essentially a build your own Protean Hulk.
Kind of like a pseudo Savine's Reclamation. Like mix with the Hulk-ish.
The flashback not being there is notable because with Intuition and Savines, it doesn't matter where the Savines goes. Here, if you specifically Buried Alive into Dewdrop Cure, you're looking at a build your own Hulk pile of Sam. I believe it's like whenever an artifact leaves the battlefield or goes to your graveyard, target opponent loses life.
You said
it's 1 mana.
Genji?
Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, it's something along the lines. I definitely think the tie-in pilots are going to try this out because this is just the easiest slot in for that deck. They're already trying to use their graveyard and fill it and get stuff out of there, and they're already a deck that is full of creatures that I believe time is 3 CMC or less. So most of them are probably at 2 anyways. So this is
it'll be a value card there, yeah.
This. Yes, just for pure value, time is the best deck for this card.
I don't know.
Just for generic value in other decks, like I said, just at 3 mana, get your Dockside and your Esper Sentinel back still seems pretty good. Or, oh no, my Dockside and my Phantasmal Image ended up in my graveyard. What a problem.
Yeah,
3 mana, get both.
It could be good value there. I think any decks that will play it, because as far as like last time I was looking at TIAM, the slots seem pretty tight in it. I think this specifically will just stay in decks that are more Hulk decks, and I do not believe TIAM's really a Hulk deck.
Okay, so now, what are we rating this card, Guy?
I still think this one's niche. right
Okay.
there with what was it, Dawn's Truce. I think it's niche. I do think it's better than Dawn's Truth, just because it is. Well, it's not more versatile, but it has more win potential.
Okay, Michael, how about you?
Niche. Like I said, I think it's a Hulk pile card. If it was to go in deck, it would be a Hulk pile card. I'm not seeing many Hulk piles right now. What I'm trying to say is that Hulk's not common. This card will be a maybe slot in a Hulk deck, which is already not seeing much play, so it's fringe at best.
Okay, so niche it is. Our next card is another uncommon. It is Parting Gust. It is 2 white, instant, with, this is a little bit different gift. This is gift a tapped fish. This gives the person you promise a tapped 1/1 blue fish, and its ability is exile target non-token creature. If the gift wasn't promised, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step.
So if you don't gift it, it's essentially Touch the Spirit Realm, because it returns under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step.
Yes.
It
with vigor.
Also,
it gets bigger.
Possibly if it's your own thing, because you can hit your own thing or your opponent's things with this. You can use it to bring back a Drain, like take a Dranith out on your turn while you're trying to go cast your commander, and then have it come back in. Because a lot of people hate removing the Dranith because it also unlocks their opponents. This one can temporarily get rid of the Dranith, so that way you don't do that, or permanently get rid of the Dranith if you don't want it out at all, or if someone's going for like a combo and you don't want the creature to come back. You can just exile it, or you can cast it on your own thing to flicker it for protection or to reset.
And giving someone a tapped 1/1 is nothing. It doesn't have flying, doesn't have any kind of evasion. It's nothing, like, unless they're on Cradle or whatever.
That's not the point. I just think it's kind of odd that this was honestly not promising it. I mean, the gift is kind of.
I think it's possibly the best gift mechanic card, being as we've only have one set worth of gift mechanic cards. But this was a card I was very excited about, and I sent it to you like as soon as it got spoiled, because for exactly like looking at it like Touch the Spirit Realm, it does that just for 1 more white mana, and it's not a channel effect. It is Touch the Spirit Realm, exactly as Michael said. There have been so many times where I've used that card to, get rid of an Oppo, get rid of a Dranith, and just not want it. I intentionally don't permanently remove it in case I fizzle or get stopped, just as you said. As well as there have been times where I would just, touch my dockside, go to end step, get another dockside trigger, and just win on Sisay on end step.
Or a Tali, if you can do that.
If you flip it off of any Tali, this says owner's control. Sorry, I thought it said opponent. Yeah, so yeah, you can certainly hit your own Itali.
Yeah, this is an awesome card because it's flexible. It is either temporary or permanent removal, and there are cases where you want one or the other all the time.
Now,
sometimes it sucks that your Touch the Spirit Realm doesn't keep it out for longer. Sometimes it sucks or sometimes it's great that it comes back in right after you want it to. So the flexibility is where this card is good.
Okay. So, Michael, what do you think? What are we rating this one?
This is going to be at the top end of fringe. I think that this effect won't see immediate large amounts of play. However, I do think that the value will be shown over time to be at least decent, which will mean it will probably end up it'll stay fringe but good. Okay. I think the effect is strong. It's just that kind of card slot is highly competitive, especially in the decks that it would be good in.
Yep. It has to compete with Touch the Spirit Realm itself, and that's just an uncounterable version of this effect. Or the permanent removal. Yes, it's 1 freer mana there, but it is a double white pip, which not a lot of decks can spend easily.
I know Blue Farm can't do it.
Yeah, which is why its biggest competition is Touch the Spirit Realm, but if you're looking for another one of those effects, it is great. And for this being, there's so many good uncommons coming out that are better than just the rares. It's crazy. If only they can make them common so I can get my pauper decks.
No, we don't want another format to rotate.
Okay, so
Already
Guy,
did in the last few minutes.
what's your rating on this one?
I don't think it's a staple mainly because touch the spirit realms. Not
So-
going in every white deck. So I'm gonna go with Michael. It's high in the niche. It is good, but I don't think it's a staple.
All right, now we're moving on to the blue portion of this review. We have one of our otters. I know everybody's excited about otters in this set. We have Hitsa Otter Ball Elite. Is 1 in a blue, legendary otter wizard with vigilance, prowess, tap, draw a card, then discard a card, then pay 2 tap, copy instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for that copy. Activate only if Etsa's power is 3 or greater. Its power and toughness are 1, 3. Michael, you had a little bit to tell me about. Actually, I pulled this one in a pack right beside you, and you said this one was kind of spicy. What do you think of it?
It is an Isochron Scepter replacement in the right deck. You can just cast, like, the thing about Isochron Scepters, you cast it, everyone knows the dramatic reversal is coming down, or something really bad has happened. They'll interact on the Isochron Scepter. It's a vulnerable combo, and it loses a lot of the value after certain interaction points. This is just a creature you can pop on board for value. You can draw a card, like looting is good. Going to counterspell something and then having to pay 2 to copy your counterspell because someone else interacted there too. There's some good value. I don't think it's particularly strong. It is interesting. I don't see Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal coming back as a combo anytime soon, and this is a minor upgrade to that. So I don't think it's an upgrade is even debatable because you can't just do Otter Reversal and win, which is the main issue I see with it. So I mean, it's new, it's interesting, it interacts like a known combo that we already have. Thing is, we find those all the time and no one runs them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think this by any means is going to be like, as you said, the deck that brings Iso Scepter back, but I do think it is going to be a very good, just generic mono blue control deck. It's 2 mana. It turns on your Fierce Guardianship very quickly. You don't even need to run J-Lo unless you just want to run a sub Urza package as a secret commander, pretty much. The Iso Scepter finally gives you an outlet in the command zone, being you can just untap your Otter and draw your deck and just win through a lab man effect. Tosses Oracle effect for you non-boomers.
Now,
as a comment on that, you run ISO Rev because you can tuck, or you can put the Dramatic Reversal on the stack and then have a different spell under the Isochron Scepter and do the thing, or just have the Otter be the Isochron Scepter in that combo with Dramatic Reversal on the stack, and then you're untapping like your 1 ring to draw your deck, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, you don't even need a 1 ring because the Otter draws the deck.
You don't get any extra untaps with just Dramatic Reversal on the stack.
That loop,
so you,
no,
yeah,
you don't.
So you can't.
But with just Iso Scepter and Dramatic Reversal by itself, you do get the untaps. Of course, your mana rocks. You gotta have your rocks.
So probably like Rings of Bright. I think if you have Rings of Bright Hearth and enough mana, it does the thing. But like, we're talking like I haven't seen a Rings of Bright Hearth in like 4 years. So, like,
I don't know, man. Like OG Teferi just top 16 the Snowy Summit.
That's because no one else knows what that man is doing. He's good at it. I'm not gonna say he's bad because I've seen him play. He is good at it, but no one has a clue as to what's going on, which definitely helps the deck.
I definitely thought about just building it for the channel, but I didn't think anyone wanted to sit here and basically watch me play a Baral Chief of Compliance deck with an Otter at the helm.
Nice.
That's
All right.
what it turned into.
It's you could do a fun high power with cEDH Staples blue control list with it at the helm. It being an outlet, there are just better options already. I mean, Urza. And
All right.
I haven't seen him.
What are we rating this card?
Casual.
Casual. So this is a
I couldn't even make an argument for making it niche. It's casual.
Okay, everybody. We are getting to our next card. Valley Flood Caller. Valley Flood Caller is a 2 and a blue.
Baby otter do 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 baby otter do do.
This is another otter.
Is shark a creature type?
Yeah, it's an otter.
This is an otter wizard. The wizard, Harry.
Counter to Souls just got better.
You're a
Now you,
wizard,
now you can make your otter and your Thorkel uncounterable. Anyways.
Okay, this otter wizard has flash. You may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. And then the rest of the ability is really inconsequential on the card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, birds, frogs, otters, rats, you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap them, and it's a 2/2.
Best. Put some goddamn respect on Slogurk.
I'm going to also counter your point. It untaps itself with that trigger. Pop a Paradise Mantle on that.
Or
a Birds of Paradise. Like, it untaps your mana sources in the right deck if you build this right.
Yeah, Slogurk.
Or Rogsai. Rogsai plus this card.
I'm trying to get it to use the frogs.
You turn 1, land, Paradise Mantle, Rogsai, equip Paradise Mantle.
Hey, Paradise Mantle, is it instant speed if this is on the board and it
The equip is not.
I know the equip is not, but it does trigger.
So you're just saying use it as a mana to work in a Rogsai deck. 3 CMC might be a little bit of a problem for that, just because it is an Adnaz deck. But
Necro Dominance, it runs both of them. Rogsai, it's funny you say that because like Tim McCrom's ad nauseum numbers are like 120, 125. Go look at the Rogsai list that are performing. They're like working with 142, 143 CMC. Yeah. I swear.
I figured it was sub 100.
No.
Or no, not sub 100, but around 100.
No, 100. Like if you go look at the most recent, oh god.
Anyways, it's irrelevant. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
I'm saying this card is nuts. It's going in Rogsai. It is like I'm gonna quote.
It's a second born. It's a second born upon a win.
As fuck, boy.
It's a second born upon a win at bare minimum.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's looking to it to. But Michael's over there trying to play 4D chess, using it as a mana dork, which pretty spicy.
This is the person that will put a different piece of tech in Marnius every other week.
Oh no, I'm not gonna run it.
All right, what are we rating the Valley Flood Caller? Is it a staple? Niche. All right.
Low into niche.
It is a Rogsai staple.
You think it?
So niche. They agree that niche was in one deck.
I mean, I can see Blue. I can see Blue Farm using this.
It will be 100% play in Rogsai. It'll be one deck, but it is a prevalent deck. It is a historically powerful deck. It is a tournament reporting deck. It will be. It's like not many decks run Culling the Week, but that's I consider that a cEDH staple, and it goes in Rogsai.
I don't think just Rogsai. I think any blue-red breach
deck. So like Rog Thras, maybe.
No,
I'm just saying, definitely goes in Stella. I could see it more in Rog Thras. I could definitely see it in a Rog Thras deck. Maybe Stella.
I'm saying any.
I don't think Stella needs it.
It's just no, you don't need the instant speed. That deck's like 60% instance.
Yeah.
I'm saying
ways to get Stella out, ways to start the combo.
I'm saying this is worth a try in anything that runs Born Upon a Wind with Breach.
Yeah.
Anything that runs Born Upon a Wind. I've seen some tournament list in Blue Farm that have been running it.
I think the best place it could be is for, as you said, Rog Thras. That just because you get the green to use it as a mana dork while you're using the full card.
All right, so we're borderline staple with niche staple. All right.
I'll be the outlier. It's fine.
We're moving on to our next card. This card.
Yeah, I know what this one does.
I think this one's a good one. This is Mockingbird. X and a blue creature bird bard. Yes, very pretty, very pretty. This bird bard has flying and the ability of you may have Mockingbird into the battlefield or enter. Oh, it's the new. You can't. It's not enter the battlefield anymore. It's enter. Enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value equal to, or excuse me, mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird, except it's a bird in addition to its other types, and it has flying. What do we think about it?
What do you think about Mockingbird? I've been waiting to do that. But yeah, so essentially this card is, I think it's going to go into every Adnos deck for it being a cheap clone effect, it being only 1 mana, and pretty much any deck that runs Ranger Captain that doesn't need Phantasmal Image as a combo piece, like Kenrith, can run this instead of Phantasmal Image, or instead of Flesh Duplicate, because it is tutorable off of Ranger Captain. So it gives you another viable target versus just, Ragavan, Esper Sentinel, and a Mana Dork. Gives you a very good Ranger Captain.
Yep. Michael, what do you think?
Pretty spot on. If your combo doesn't involve reanimating the Mockingbird or flickering the Mockingbird, and you're using it for value plays, I think it's fine. Now, realistically, you are using this to copy small creatures for the most part. It's searchable off Ranger Captain. If you specifically just use a clone to clone one of your small creatures, which is going to be more often than not a dockside, it does that job just as well as Phantasmal Image, and it is easier to find. You have a free tutor for it,
and it's more resilient than a Phantasmal Image. It doesn't just die to a breath of a slight breeze.
As well as it comes in with flying.
All right, what is our rating for the Mockingbird? How are we rating this one?
I think this is our first staple.
First on staple?
Because I'm rating this right there with Phantasmal Image and Flesh Duplicate.
Fair enough. Okay.
I think the way this one is designed, it's better suited towards progressing your own game plan if you're being more aggressive. Which what I mean by that is, yeah, Timnacrom loves, Adnos decks love to do, because you're wanting to copy your own small things, not wait for other people to have bigger things on board that are good to clone. Like, one of the nice parts about clones is that they cheat mana cost. This one notably does not, especially for big things. Like Duplicate and Fimage get Atraxa. This one, not so much. But notice what I just said. They're good at copying what other people are doing. This one is better to support your own play pattern and game plan and play style, or your win.
Now, what's our rating on this one? What's your rating there, Michael?
This is a staple. Easy staple.
All right.
If you're on Azorius and you have Ranger Captain, you should probably just run this card.
Nice.
I've been kind of thinking about adding Ranger Captain back into Sisay. I've been missing it, especially since I cut Lavinia. And I like my clone effects. This would probably get me to put it back in there.
All right. Next, we have Pollywog Prodigy. 1 in a blue. Creature, frog, wizard. There's a lot of wizards. It has evolve.
Oh, there's.
Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell with mana value less than Pollywog Prodigy's power, draw a card. His starting power is 1, and his toughness is 3.
It's another 2 mana 1/3. What is up with wizards and liking thick creatures? Ever since Dauntless Dismantler, dude, it's just been I love it because fuck Bowmaster, but damn.
Is this just another Esper Sentinel that we're going to see in every blue-white?
Oh no, this is the true Mystic Buddy.
This is way better.
This is so much better than Esper Sentinel.
Can't get it off Ranger Captain. No. Mystic Buddy is Pollywog Prodigy.
Okay, I take it back. I will not say it's better than Esper Sentinel because I did see it come up in our finals match of the 15K where Ian had cast this and then just couldn't trigger it. It took a whole turn rotation and a whole interaction fight for it to get triggered to evolve one time in a Kennen deck. The only other time he got triggered was when I cast a Chrome Mox just to feed him to help us fight the Nadu guy. So if you can consistently trigger it, which seems like it is much easier than it should be, because 90% of commanders will trigger this. it is good. I think it is going to be an instant staple, and just that one instance it performed poorly. But if you can just cast this and then cast your commander, because majority of commanders are at least 2 power, you're at least getting 1 trigger off of it, and then it's triggering on every 0 and 1 drop spell, which that's typically the sweet spot. If you can get another trigger off of it, because it just has to be bigger than the polywog, not everything else, and you getting it trigger off of every 0, 1, and 2 drop, it's going to be phenomenal.
I'm actually going to lead off with my rating of it and then break it down in the summary. Instant staple. Blue Farm. Run this card. Any of you on Archivist, which I was already pretty low on in the first place, gone. Out.
Absolutely.
Goodbye. This is so much better. There are caveats, but the amount of upfront power it provides early on in the game when people are really jamming stuff right now is insane. You cast this, you cast Tymna. Every 0 and 1 drop you're drawing off of. You cast Crom. It's every 0, 1, and 2 drop. That plus your commanders makes this insane. The issue with Kinnan...
You play this in Rockside because you already run like very few creatures and your commanders don't trigger it, except for Silas, which you hardly want to cast Silas.
I don't think you run it in Rockside.
Nah, you don't run this in Rockside. This is
your
my
this is a
commander
mid-range.
and or commanders.
This is in more your mid-range commanders.
It's your Kinnans, your Blue Farms.
Your Nadus.
I can actually see Kinnan not liking it, specifically because Kinnan focuses on getting Kinnan out first to accelerate mana, and then it would put this out, and then it stays on 0 for a while until Kinnan starts doing Kinnan things, which oftentimes it's hoping to flip into better things than a 1/3 that draws cards every 0 cast. I actually don't think it gets Kinnan. I think this goes in Blue Farm. I think this goes in any high creature count blue deck.
I'm probably going to figure out a slot for it in Sisay. It might replace Basim, just because they're both my card draw slot. The only thing I'm giving up to Basim is that it is a 2-mana 2-pip legendary, which is why I'm still trying it out. But I have seen some lists put it in their Sisay. I'm going to pick up one just because it is a staple, just to have and try it out.
Okay, our next card is Into the Floodmaw. It is 1 blue, instant. It is gift a tapped fish, so it has that. And then it is return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent to an opponent's non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Yeah, this is I think I'm gonna say this is an instant staple, but what do y'all want? What do y'all think?
I will contradict, or not contradict. I'll go against the point that it replaces Chain of Vapor. That is not to say it's because
I think it replaces Chain of Vapors in decks like Tevish that can't use Chain of Vapor.
Chain of Vapor I see as a storm card. You use it on it's in a pinch removal, and if you're good at politicking, or you just know what you're doing, you can do 2 for 1 mana. Good there. It is risky. It hits your own stuff more often than not.
So specifically the storm deck, sure, you'd rather have Chain of Vapor, so chain your own mana rocks and whatnot.
For anyone else that uses Chain of Vapor,
for your blue farms, for your 5-color generic stuff, all of that good stuff. If you don't want to specifically bounce your mana rocks or your dockside, and you only want it as a 1-mana removal spell, it is strictly better than Chain of Vapor.
I think the utility of this card's better. It feels a different but same slot as Chain of Vapor in some situations. So it's kind of sort of Chain of Vapor, but not Chain of Vapor at the same time.
And again, gifting the tap fish just does not matter until someone diabolic intents it and you die. And
I will add, you do not have to gift the tapped fish to the person that you're to the owner of the permanent that you're targeting.
Yeah. You can gift it to anyone, the perk of our format, any opponent. Go ahead and give Magda a fish. What are they going to do with it? Don't give Marnius the fish, but give Magda the fish.
All right, so are we saying this is an instant staple?
Yes.
Next up, we have the red section. of our podcast here. All right, this one I've got 2 cards in it. Some things I thought maybe a little bit of a niche.
So sad.
The first one, we have a saga or class card. Artist's Talent is 1 in a red. The first level is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Then you may pay 2 in a red. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and then you pay another 2 in a red. If a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. I think this card might be worth a try in some decks that are looking to decrease the amount of mana that they're used to cast non-creature spells. It might be worth a try. What do y'all think?
I'll be honest with you. I stopped reading this card after level 2. Because I don't think you're ever going to invest that much mana into it.
No.
You might not ever reach level 2. I initially wanted this card on the list because of the first level. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. For your low-color red decks, your Reds, your Rakdos, your Boros decks. Not so much your Boros decks, because you want it more of your Storm-style decks. It's like a pseudo-Bergie almost. Like, it's good in those. It's definitely going into O'Hare. I don't know if it'll go into Obnixilis because they want to exile stuff, but maybe like O'Hare, Rakdos the Muscle, stuff like that.
Michael,
There
what
is
you
a
got?
commander. There is a commander that we will be looking at this podcast, where I think this card goes wild.
Really? Into that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. You get to see 3 cards every non-creature spell. Hello.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, and it's a cheap investment. Like this, Storm decks love this. They
For
love it.
reference on that, we're alluding to the infamous Cruel Claw.
so we'll get into
Is
him.
that what you're alluding to?
Flubs.
Oh, Flubs?
Flubs.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
bring
let's keep
Yeah.
Flubs.
We'll get there.
We'll get to
Yeah,
Flubs here in a minute.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is going to go into some red storm decks. You're hardly ever going to look at the other 2 levels. It's there for it's a 2 mana. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a card, pretty much.
Okay. What are we rating this one, guy?
Niche.
Michael.
I think it's going to be good in those decks, but it's neat.
Niche. Flubs is niche because it's new, so it's kind of bad. Like, it's kind of hard to hold it against it. But we don't have like really non-deterministic storm exists in red because they decided Simic should have it instead. And this card goes in those decks, so we'll just see. We'll have to see how. I think the life of this card in each will be determined by Flubs.
Well, we'll talk about Flubs here in a little bit. Now, moving over to green, or moving on to green, we have this one. This is.
Oh my god, if y'all looked at the treasure tokens this thing makes.
The what?
So fucking adorable.
Oh, yes.
What treasure?
So moving into green, we have blood. So people know what I'm talking about. We have Bloodroot Apothecary. I'm sorry, Seth, for cutting you off. I was just hovering over the tokens and I saw this.
There. Okay.
Yeah. So we have Bloodroot Apothecary. It's 2 and a green for a creature Squirrel Druid 3/3. It has Toxic 2. So whenever player does combat damage, it has Toxic 2. Whenever players dealt combat damage by this, a player gains 2 poison counters.
Just the top.
It does not have Infect. It has Toxic 2. Whenever Bloodroot Apothecary enters, you and target opponent each create a treasure token. Kind of bad, but you do get a rebate on it, so it's kind of 2 mana. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, that player gets 2 poison counters. And 2 marshmallows. The treasure tokens I was referring to, the nice little family of knick-knack raccoons.
All right.
That one on screen.
I want this card. I want this card so bad to have flash.
We can't give everything flash.
I
Just because
wanted
you
to
don't
have
like
flash.
Sisay doesn't mean every 3-mana creature that needs to have flash.
I just want this to
Now,
have
Corvo
flash.
players rejoice.
I want this to have flash, so when someone says, "Ooh, I'm gonna do Dockside," and guess what? In response to Dockside ETB, I'm gonna cast Bloodroot.
This card is already good. We can't make every card fucking Underworld Breach and Lion's Eye Diamond. We can't make every card a Rhystic Study. It's already good. Like, Corvo players rejoice because now they can run a Collector Roof pretty much. Like, this takes for all these people that want to run Collector Roof right now, but we can't because your deck also relies on artifacts. This fits that slot.
Yeah. Michael, I see you over there. They're ready to talk. What do you think about this?
He's over there crying in Marnia's tears.
Nah, I'm copying this. What are you talking about? I'll make some guys and swing at you while you cry and sit there with your treasures, and then I'll clone it. This is fantastic. I hate Dockside. Spoiler alert. I would like to see which decks actually fall out of meta if there was no Dockside, because it'd be a lot, because it's a crutch. Sorry. And this card does that for us, kind of. Of note, they do go on the stack, and the thing about mana abilities, a la treasures, is that you get the mana before the ability, like before any response triggers or like triggers go on the stack and resolve. This does say "fuck you" to Magda, which is nice, but
yeah,
I like
it hoses Magda.
Magda cannot do anything. Magda will just die, which is pretty good. I like Magda dying. I don't know about you guys. Fuck Magda. Because I can never tell my opponents how close they are to winning. I'm like, dude, he has 10 treasures next turn. What are you doing?
Oh,
either way,
okay.
This card triggers Magda. Sisay sees it and is like, okay, I'm slowed down until I can do the whole thing at once, and I have to go for a particular combo. It can still do it over it, which is why I don't.
I'd have to go for like a Sylvala combo instead of a Dockside combo.
Yeah, it'll be like a meal. It'll be like a meal Derevi Gaia's Cradle into Mount Doom or something like that. Yeah.
So there are decks that can get around it, but apart from like that specific scenario, even though it is like the second most popular deck, this card is a staple. I think this card is going to be a green staple.
I think this is a green staple. Okay, Michael, do you agree that it is a green staple?
I think it's fringe. I think that because it only hard stops certain decks, other decks can combo over it. It makes it more risky, but they can still do it. I think that most decks won't be able to find a slot that only truly stops certain decks.
I don't think you're throwing it. Okay. Let me retract the staple. I will say it's low end of staple, but high end of niche. Because it's not gonna go in every green deck. It's not gonna go, maybe not in your Atraxa. But it doesn't have to hard stop every deck just for the threat of it sitting there, because like probably 80% of our format is a treasure based or token based format. It is just the threat of it sitting there and you might die. It's kind of like Blood Chief's Ascension. Like it doesn't stop every deck, but it stops a lot of them. It doesn't stop every combo, but it stops a lot of them.
All right,
that's fair.
All right, now we are in to the multicolored portion. Now let's start talking about some commanders, because that's what we got here. First off, we have Balin the Haymaker. This Naya commander, so a red, green, and a white, legendary creature rabbit warrior, has quite the bit of abilities here. First, tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Tap 3 untapped tokens, draw a card. And then tap 4 untapped tokens you control, put 3 1/1 counters on Balin the Haymaker, gains trample until end of turn. His power and toughness are 4/3. What are we thinking about the Bunny Reaper?
I already knew this card was good, but have y'all looked at the price on the alt art?
A couple $100, isn't it?
It's $104.
That's how, so it's dropped. It's dropped.
But yeah, no. So I knew this card was good, but I didn't realize it was a 4/3. It's arguably the best Naya commander because it gives you access to a plethora of combos, and Nige all it wants to do tokens. Like our best other, what?
Michael's got a question.
I can run Collector Roof and Null Rod and still loop Dockside.
I was getting to that. Yeah, so this is probably going to be the only viable deck that can actually run Collector Roof. I don't know if Tayum runs it, but Collector Roof, Null Rod, all of that, it works through it. Because you don't care if it turns off artifacts. Yes, your Dockside loop cost a few more mana. You can still do it.
You could do it, nobody else can.
Oh, and nobody can sacrifice their treasures to your Dockside cast, so like the count's just there. Hello.
It's gonna be like Naya pseudo stacks, just Dockside combo deck. As the person who was sitting there saying he hates Dockside.
I like tokens. I just hate Dockside because it takes away my uniqueness of making tokens, and now everyone gets it.
Just jealous that Marnius isn't red. Anyways, everyone who hates Dockside just doesn't play red decks.
Jeez, shots fired. Hot take. All right.
The rating before we move on.
Yeah, what do we got? What's our rating for Balin?
I don't know if we can really rate cards as commanders, because I don't know if it's going to be like a staple Naya deck. It's probably the best Naya commander option. But for it to be a staple, that would mean it would go into the 99 of plenty of decks, at least in my opinion. So I don't think our rating scale we have been using fits for things as commanders.
Okay, then
in the 99, it's like a 0. But as a commander, it's pretty good. I definitely think it's worth trying out. I'm going to put this deck together and print it off for the channel so we can get some content of it.
Counterpoint. I know Memo made a Stacks Najila list.
This is a warrior.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
a warrior, and you can tap your tokens to add mana and draw cards. Like, that seems pretty good.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so we'll throw it in niche because it goes into Najila.
It'll be maybe niche in cEDH in the 99. I think I already have a list for that.
All right, moving on. We got another Rakdos commander here to look at. We have Gev Scaled Scorch, a black and red legendary creature, lizard mercenary or outlaw. Has ward, pay 2 life. Other creatures you control enter with an additional 1/1 counter on them for each opponent who's lost life this turn. Whenever you cast a lizard spell, Gev Scale Scorch deals 1 damage to target opponent. Power and toughness are 3/2. What do we think of old Gev? I think Guy over here saw a deck he was pretty interested in with Gev.
Yeah, so I was sleeping on Gev for a while, not gonna lie. Some people in the Sisei community were talking about it just because it's 2 mana, 2-pip legendary that doesn't die to Bowmaster. I don't think that's where it goes. We ran into someone at the cEDH 15K last weekend that showed us a deck list of this, and they made it a persist deck running like the persist goblin combos and all that stuff. You don't care about the third ability, but the middle ability is what you care about, where all your persist creatures are entering back with a +1/+1 counter on there, so it removes the negative counter. And you can do tons of persist loops with a commander that turns on your free commander spells, your swats and your relics, as well as your like Mox Ambers and stuff. It is a pretty sweet persist deck.
Michael, you got anything?
Can I get a recording of what Guy just said?
Yeah, I think it's honestly about all
my voice.
that there is.
The same thing.
Like, it is a 2 mana 3/2 body, which is cool.
It's a persist loop enabler that's really cheap.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, we're always going to have Rakdos players that are always trying to do the really cool fast combo as quickly as possible. This makes like red cap
Francisco
loops.
nuts.
Yeah, this makes red cap loop, and people will do red cap loops with any number of sacrifice outlets, and that's where this deck will go, or that's what this deck will do.
Awesome.
I think that there's always a group of Rakdos players who build the Rakdos Flavor of the Week deck and do the thing, and then realize the deck doesn't go anywhere and will stop playing it. Looking at Rowan.
Damn.
That's where this deck will go.
I'd put it right there with Rograk and Francis.
Speaking of Rakdos Flavor of the Week, we've got another Rakdos commander. One of the two weasels.
This one's actually good.
One of the two weasels in this set.
You could say he weaseled his way in.
This is Infamous Cruel Claw. He is 1 a black and a red legendary creature, Weasel Mercenary with Menace. Whenever Infamous Cruel Claw deals damage to an opponent, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by discarding a card rather than paying its mana cost. Its power is 3/3. I see this as kind of a fun card to play. So, what do y'all think?
Stuff is Worldfire.
Hint, hint. That's what I might be doing in our Bloomburrow gameplay.
So, I'm going to refer to my previous statement.
Flavor of the week.
It does one thing very well. The
lizard can't cast a free peer into the abyss.
The lizard also can do the thing on the turn it comes in. And you're in Rakdos, and you really want that. And this cannot do that unless you give it haste somehow, some other way.
Or you just
which now we're talking bad cards.
Isn't that hard? It's 3-mana commander.
And you could see Arena of Glory is not really that bad. You could run Arena of Glory with this.
Dude, the deck is just lands, Worldfire, and some of your lands are deserts. Turn 3, slam him, get in, cast Worldfire, play some deserts.
play a desert, win game. Yeah. The deck will have it's a Rakdos deck with a very straightforward, fast game plan. It'll be flash in the pan. People will understand what the deck does, and they'll build the commander. The deck's
kind of
gonna
looking
have
at it like Cody almost.
Worse than
Because
Cody.
the best thing to do with the deck is going to be, just turbo out Appearance to the Abyss.
And Cody can back it up with counter magic.
Yeah, Cody already
Because
does.
this, you have to resolve your commander. You have to get through on combat. I know it has menace, but still, you do have to do combat damage. Then you have to, let's be real, you have to tutor to top a library.
So you're
and
playing
then
stuff, you got all your top deck tutors, and then you're
running top bolus,
like Sensei's top and Scroll Rack. It's obviously you got your Basalt, not your Basalt, your Bolus's Citadel combo in there. But it is probably the best peer into the Abyss commander, if that's what you're voting for. It's another niche flavor of the week. I would honestly rank it like right below Rakdos the Muscle.
Okay.
Yes, as a commander. I think Rakdos actually goes in the 99 of a few spicy decks.
Oh no, I'm speaking of it solely as a commander. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'd put it there with Rakdos the Muscle. I'd respect it the same amount. And I do respect that deck. I've seen it win. I've lost to it. And I've seen
Shout
it
out to
go
my
off
boy
plenty
Victor.
of times. What?
The meme lord.
Victor.
Oh no, I've never seen him do well with that deck.
Leave that part in.
I'm just stating it. I'm sure he has. He wouldn't play it if he hasn't. I would put it right there with Rakdos the Muscle. It is certainly a deck that can win games, and it's certainly a deck that needs to be respected, but it's not as strong as Omnixilus. It's not as strong as Florian, for that matter.
Nowhere close.
Oof. All right. So we've got the rating for that one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say niche. Say niche on that
Yeah,
one.
it's niche.
All right.
Fringe niche, yeah.
It is the most overhyped commander of this set, though.
It is. Next up, we have another multicolored card. This one isn't a commander. This is the Lily Splash Mentor. It's 2, a green and a blue. Creature Frog Druid. It has reach, and then it has an ability. Pay 1, a green and a blue. Exile another target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. Or activate only as a sorcery. Power and toughness are 4/4. This is just Teamer Battle.
Teamer Sabertooth.
This is Teamer Sabertooth.
Sabertooth.
Better, actually.
Yeah, because you don't have to recast it. I don't know about better because it is locked to Simic decks, which likely you're playing Teamer Sabertooth in a Simic deck as it is.
In a Teamer deck.
Like Italy, for example, it is obviously like it goes infinite with Dockside. If you got a Dockside count of 4, and you don't have to recast it. I think it is right there along with Teamer Sabertooth. It being a 4 mana is kind of rough, but it is a 4/4, so it compensates with that. And it has reach, which is not irrelevant. This blocks a Crom all day. There trades with a Crom.
Now, is there a perk to it exiling versus bouncing it back to your hand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have to recast it. You can't get mind break trapped off of this, and it's just flickering like Emil. It's a mix between Teamer Sabertooth and Emil.
If you have the 3 on a scale, Emil's the best. This one is the second best. Teamer is the lowest performer out of the 3. Not that it's bad, it is clunky.
I'd agree with that.
But you do have to adjust dockside count based off of
This one.
heuristics on board.
Well, it requires the same dockside count as Emil, but it doesn't feed heuristic, it doesn't feed mind break trap and all that stuff, which is what Teamer Sabertooth struggles with. Now, it can't replace Teamer Sabertooth because it is a Simic card. So Itali cries, that dinosaur noises, but it's good.
If you could run all 3, you run Emil first. Then if you can't run Emil, but you can run this, you run this before Teamer Sabertooth.
I think you just run.
Derevi?
I think you run Teamer Sabertooth and this
Derevi
just as
runs
redundancy.
Derevi runs this, yes. I think Derevi's
This goes in Derevi.
loves this. Yeah, it goes infinite.
It's the second Emil.
Well, it goes infinite with a lot. Yeah.
The only downside is it does have to produce blue also. So you can't just go infinite with your Gaia's Cradle unless you have your Agatha Soul Cauldron out. Then you just don't care.
Yeah, I was thinking specific. Like, I know we pivoted to Derevi, so my brain kind of turned off.
I think that's the best deck it goes into is Derevi.
Teamer decks will run this over Teamer Sabertooth.
Well, yeah, so your Rog Thrasses, your that one Krark Thrass player we saw.
Or Barignos and Double Tip will run this over.
It'll be
that deck's fun
a bit of a hefty price, but I do, yeah. In my opinion, Derevi's the best deck it goes into. You think it goes better in Teamer decks because of the whole dockside loop, which is great. But I think there are just better options in there.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Kitten doesn't go infinite with it, but it's still good. In the Teamer deck specifically, it is better than Teamer Sabertooth for dockside loops.
And those see play. I don't consider those fringe. So I think
it's definitely not a relevant topic. I'd say it's niche. It is a very good niche card. I would honestly, I'd put it like right there with Eternal Witness. They don't do the same thing, but I think they're right there on the same power level and like popularity.
So do we call?
I consider.
Are we calling the mint?
Eternal Witness is niche?
No, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't go into every green deck.
Most green decks. Wait.
It doesn't go to every green
Almost
CEDH.
every green deck. What? Almost every green CEDH deck I know runs Eternal Witness.
Are we calling this high niche? Or
Am
we
I
calling
crazy? Am I? Wait, hold on. Am I the crazy
Oh
one?
God.
Here? Eternal Witness is a CEDH staple, right?
No.
And I think I agree with you that this is Eternal Witness level, which makes it a staple. I'm not like.
Eternal Witness is not a CEDH staple. It is
We're gonna
good.
get.
It is strong, but it has to have the right deck.
We're gonna get. Oh God, there's gonna be. This is the comment that gets us just roasted in the comments.
Eternal Witness is a
We want
CEDH All-Star. I love that card. I don't even play green deck. I wish I could run that card.
Let us know in the comments down below.
Is Eternal Witness a CEDH staple? Yes or no?
My vote is no.
Also remember, like and subscribe.
Thanks.
Not sponsored by Red Bull.
Cover
That's
that
his
logo
third. Okay. What are we rating the mentor guy saying it's niche? Mike Boomer Michael over here saying it is a staple. Is that right?
It's a staple. Yes. It replaces anywhere that it can go that Teamer Sabertooth currently is, it immediately replaces.
So, okay. Moving on.
This guy.
Oh.
Hold on. cEDHstaples.com. There's a definitive answer for this.
A thing?
Yeah. cEDH. Hold on.
We're learning something here.
cEDHstaples.com. It's just a redirect to the Playing with Power cEDH Staples Moxfield list. And if I go to creatures, and it's sorted by alphabetically, so Eternal Witness is on the cEDH Staples list.
WebMD will also tell you you're dying if you stub your toes. So just because
you are dying. Have you stubbed your toe before? You are dying.
Yes, I deal with it daily. I work in EMS. Fucking 2 a.m. toe pain. I hope you step on a D4.
I hope you step on a Lego.
Next up, I know Michael. This is our final card of this podcast.
Listen, I don't have any more cards.
What?
I don't have any more cards.
No,
you want me to read this one off?
A card that is technically not included in the set, but it is a buy a box promo.
Oh yeah.
All right.
This
card. This is Flubs the Fool.
Flubs
a legendary frog scout creature.
Yep. All right. This frog scout, you may play an additional land each of your turns. You play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. If you have no cards in your hand, otherwise discard a card. He's a 0/5. How is it? What are we doing with this? What are we doing with Flubs?
Every single person who has
Besides
wanted
eating
Song of
crayons.
Creation to be a thing. I mean, I'm not surprised. He's an EMT after all. Every
Angry
single
Play-Doh
person
and
that
eating
has
crayons.
looked at Song of Creation and gone, that's powerful, that's fun, that's high risk, high reward, I want to do it, this is your commander. I mean, this honestly kind of feels like someone on WotC's design team was like, I have a Song of Creation deck. And another person went, oh, but your commander's not Song of Creation. Wouldn't that be awesome? And this is the result. If I may, Seth, you've been asking me this question the whole review. What do you think of this card?
I'm terrible at building decks, so I'm not sure where we put Flubs. What
As the commander.
as the commander, what do you build around Flubs? I'm not.
Storm, baby.
What?
Underruled
Storm.
Breach, LED,
Kitten.
0 drops, Displacer Kittens. That enchantment from earlier where every time you cast a non-creature spell, you loot.
How are we rating Mr. Flubs? What do we? Is this in the niche?
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
my deposition at the start. It's high risk, high reward, high variance, but very powerful commander. It unfortunately will. The downfall of many decks is that they run a lot of, like, you can run a few bad cards a la Nadu and be a good deck. This unfortunately will just run a lot of bad cards, and even though it's powerful, its fallback is not good, so it won't be consistent, and I don't think it'll have much staying power. That being said, I think every once in a while when people pull out their like tier 2 commander or like cEDH decks and they're like, let's have some fun, someone will pull this deck out because it looks fun as hell.
How about you, Guy?
Flub you on.
Are you gonna play Flubs?
Oh no, I'm playing the rabbit. I'm playing Judy Hopps.
Judy Hopps. Alter art.
I'm playing aggressive Judy Hopps.
Murder Bunny. Okay.
No, that's in the set that no one can buy.
All right, that will conclude our set review for for Bloomburrow. Please like and subscribe, and let us know if we missed any of your favorite cards from the set, and if we just got it all wrong. Just drop it in the comments. Just skewer us if you want to.
Star Wars. Star Wars.
Hey,
Are you an Eternal Witness is not a staple?
Eternal.
It's a staple. Come on, what are you doing?
If there's any cards
Also,
that we missed,
3 Animarchers.
oh God, if there's any cards we missed, please let us know. And we will love to see you guys come back next time. Please continue to support us. We really appreciate it. And like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.